Coming up next, I have to admit, I was pretty intimidated to interview today's guest because the witty singer behind it is so wicked smart. It's a song that was an instant favorite with an opening line that grabs you by the ears and never lets go. With a killer opening line, contains a word that's never been used like this in a rock song. I think it's got to be the best opening line of the last 30 years. Easy. A song that was extremely peculiar, and I mean that as a compliment, because it's truly the coolest hit of its time. I've always wondered what the story behind it was, and I wasn't disappointed when the singer used a hilarious analogy to explain it to me. This is one you got to see. It's coming up next on Professor of Rock. Hey, music junkies. Professor of Rock, always here to celebrate the greatest artists and the greatest songs of all time. You know, if you remember waiting in line around the block for tickets to the great blockbuster movies of the 70s and 80s, whether the Star Wars franchise, Indiana Jones, or Back to the Future, you're going to dig this channel of daily nostalgia. Make sure that you subscribe below right now and click the bell so that you always know when our new interviews are dropping. And we've got a lot of great new interviews coming out. I'm doing a couple a week. So I'm excited to bring you yet another episode from our series, Revelations. This is where featured artists go deep on their greatest songs and albums with amazing insight that you won't find anywhere else. Today's episode is pretty cool. You know, mainstream music started to go downhill in the 90s, in my opinion. Pretty much went off a cliff after 95. That's how I see it. Just when I thought there was no hope left, this band came out of nowhere in 1996. They weren't grunge, they weren't pop, they really weren't even alternative, though that's where the tastemakers tried to categorize them. They stepped into a world full of post-grunge. You know, Kurt Cobain had already passed away. And after a summer that was dominated by the Macarena and Mariah Carey, the band Cake was a welcome arrival with their catchy and cool ditty, The Distance.
He's going the distance. He's going for speed.
It grabbed you from the opening line and it seduced you with Greg Brown's cracking guitar and John McCrea's speak-sing one-liners.
Bowel-shaking earthquakes of doubt and remorse assail him, impale him with monster truck force.
I tell you, it was glorious. The Distance, it was unlike anything on the radio, and it's become a classic since.
In his mind, he's still driving, still making the grade. She's hoping in time that her memories will fade.
It was a hit across the globe. It went to number 22 in the UK, number 15 in Belgium. It went to number 20 in Scotland, number 5 on the Canada rock charts.
Because he's racing and pacing and plotting the course. He's fighting and fighting and riding on his...
Here in the US, it hit several charts, 38 on the rock charts, number 4 on the alternative charts, and it went to number 35 on the US radio charts. Again, you couldn't really categorize or label these guys. They did what they wanted. It was their own sound. And they were beloved by all types, which is why their debut album, Fashion Nugget, went 2 times platinum. And it was a hit clear into 97. And their follow-up, that was a hit as well. It's a cover of Gloria Gaynor's hit, I Will Survive. I'm excited to share an interview I did with one of the most interesting frontmen in music, John McCrea of Cake, about this classic song and this classic album. Like I said, I was a little intimidated. He's a really smart guy. I hope you'll enjoy it. Let's get into this.
They deftly maneuver and muscle for rank. Fuel burning fast on an empty tank.
In 96, when Fashion Nugget came out, and that was where I discovered you guys, that really spoke to my friends and I in our group. Even the album covers, you guys have such a unique way of presenting the music. And of course, now with digital music, that's not as commonplace. But Fashion Nugget went platinum in the US, gold in Canada. The Distance, number 4 alternative rock hit, number 38 on the mainstream rock chart. I mean, it went through all the charts. I mean, it was big in the UK and Australia, number 22 in the UK. And it was, I know, written by former guitarist Greg Brown. What made that song unique was your interpretation of it, the way that you approached it vocally. Frank Sinatra is my favorite of all time. He didn't write any of his own music, but he was always able to take anybody's song and interpret it where he owned the song. So to me...
Yeah. Let's talk about Frank Sinatra for a little while if you want. He was genius in terms of rhythmic intelligence. His phrasing empowered the song and interfaced with the song with the orchestral or whatever arrangement.
But it was just one of those.
He knew exactly which places needed to emphasis, and that's a form of genius.
And even a song like Night and Day has been covered by everybody.
Yeah.
He can take it and cover it when he's a young buck in the 40s and 50s, and it can be that swing in Night and Day.
Day and night.
And then cover it again in the reprise years and bring so many more layers to it with his voice and what he's been through. You can hear the Jack Daniels, you can hear the nights of struggle and the heartbreak and all those kinds of things. I mean, he tells a story.
Night and day.
Yeah, totally. You know, I mean, I love Ella Fitzgerald's version of that song, but Frank Sinatra does knock it out of the park, you know?
Yes.
But yeah, so The Distance was, I think I recorded that vocal and wanted to do a couple more takes of the vocal. And Greg told me not to. He said, if you change it, you'll ruin it. So I give him, I think I have changed the delivery of that song for the better over the years. Like there are a couple things that I do now that I think rhythmically makes sense.
He's going the distance. He's going for speed.
But I think I got lucky with that, you know.
Well, speaking of Frank Sinatra, that's how he would do it. He would sing it 2 or 3 times. If he didn't get it, he'd move on.
Yeah.
Because he wanted to get in the moment.
That's the way to do it. Also, you can't feel any joy for a song that you've been trying to sing 37 times.
Yeah.
And that's the way I write songs too. I'll have a chorus and a maybe one verse, and I'll try for a while to finish it. And if I can't finish it, I'll just go on to another one and maybe not revisit that song for 5 years because I just don't want to get sick of anything. I mean, this is why it's music, right?
Yeah.
There's supposed to be some joy in it. You know, it's not supposed to be forced.
Exactly.
So, yeah.
Well, The Distance, I mean, that's often equated to sports, achievement, that kind of thing because of the expression going the distance. But to me, it spoke to just everyday struggles.
Yeah.
That tongue-in-cheek of the way it's delivered, but also very sincere. It's like that's a hard balance to maintain, to be able to, because if you're tongue-in-cheek the whole time, it comes off as a silly song. If you're totally sincere, then it might be a little bit overcompensating. It feels like there's a really good balance there. I think it's the only song, I've looked this up, in history of the world that starts with the word reluctantly.
Oh. Wow. Yeah, I guess it's counterintuitive to start with reluctantly.
Reluctantly crouched at the starting line.
Tell me about what you felt when you were recording it and what that song means to you.
Well, I mean, it is a song about success and failure of success, really. It's a sad song.
It is.
Yeah, because there is no success, right? That's so sad, right? You can explode into the world with great magnificence and still feel like the guy underneath the Mickey Mouse head,
right?
And with the batteries the fan batteries have stopped working properly, and it's dark under there, and everybody wants your autograph, you know.
I love
because
that.
you're Mickey Mouse.
Yeah. Key lyric, he's haunted by something he cannot define, bowel-shaking earthquakes of doubt and remorse.
Assail him, impale him with monster truck force. In his mind, he's still driving, still making the grade.
The song gels so well. I want to ask you about some of the musical aspects of it. The prominence of the trumpet, which of course would become a signature for you guys. What do you remember about putting those elements together? Because you also have the guitar riff that, for my money, is as good of a guitar riff as out there.
He's going for speed.
I mean, it stands right beside the great ones. You know, you remember it, drives the song, the bass, and even the way you start the song. Tell me about those elements.
I remember working on the song quite a bit with Greg Brown. He had a lot of these parts written and sort of he had the parts going the entire way through the song. Like that guitar riff that you like didn't stop, and it went the whole time through every verse. And so I ended up saying, no, we're going to wait. We're going to use this later, and we'll start with the bass. And I think that really helped the song in that it is a collection of really great parts. You know, sometimes the inclination is to just put everything you have into something, but sometimes it's absence that actually is, you know, it's air that is more valuable than stuff.
You're absolutely right.
Yeah.
Because the variations, when you hear the bass line, then your voice come in, then you start to hear the drums, then you hear the trumpet, then you hear the background vocals. It separates it for you and adds a new piece on. So your ears, you appreciate all those layers.
Yeah.
A lot of times in music, especially these days, they throw in 15 hooks right at the beginning and you're like, what is this?
The human brain is incapable of really accessing everything all at once. It just, you can enjoy, like viscerally enjoy, I think 2 or 3 counterpoint melodies. But when you get to 4 or 5, it's like there's not room.
Well, the song feels like almost a race to the finish line. That's what's cool about it. Music gives it that feeling. But tell me about what you remember about incorporating the melodica. Because that was an instrument that my friends and I heard in hip hop, but not a lot in pop music.
Well, I mean, we were listening to hip hop and we were listening to rap, and there were things about it that seemed to make sense to us. We weren't trying to ape rap in any way, because you can tell from the way I delivered the song, I wasn't trying to sort of force my way into that subculture. But I think that there is something really smart about just a melody that cuts through everything really cleanly and deliberately.
The other thing I love about the song is a little bit different than the time, is that you actually talked about he and she. It wasn't just a song about a he, so that anybody could put themselves in that context of the song.
Yeah, desperation for everyone.
She's all alone in a time of need.
The video too was always fun to watch in the corporate world. I mean, because immediately you would think, if you heard the song, because I heard the song first before the video, but then when you see the video, you'd almost assume it would be a sports thing if you made a swift judgment on it. But I also love when you're holding the Santa Claus head. Where did that come from?
It was just an impulsive decision. But it had to do with capitalism, probably.
Well, of course, been covered by Relient K. I don't know if you ever heard their version.
No.
Alvin and the Chipmunks, which kind of introduced it to a new generation. Instrumental version, Saddle Sore Galactica episode of The Simpsons. Tell me what you thought when you saw that.
It was stunning to have anything included in The Simpsons. Yeah, that was remarkable, a feeling. I'm trying to describe it, but yeah, it was sort of thrilling. Yeah.
I mean, what a great show. And in later years, they actually used, instead of the instrumental version and the reruns, they used the original version of the song.
I thought they should have used the original version
to begin with. Yeah. Of course, been used to plug all sorts of sporting events from Tour de France.
They deftly maneuver and muscle for rank. Fuel burning fast on it.
We have no control over
NASCAR and
we'd rather they stopped doing that.
No kidding.
He's going the distance.
What wisdom would you impart at this point that you've learned from other people coming up in the industry to anybody who is not only coming up in the music industry, but also just in art or in just everyday life? Like, what would you impart if you learned?
Well, I don't think it's unique to this particular time period, but I will say that if you're a musician, you should let the music lead. You shouldn't let culture lead. You shouldn't let anything else, money, You should just follow the music, and then you'll have a good time. And if you have a good time, other people might have a good time. Not necessarily, but at least you're having a good time. And you'll sound better. You know, I think when people think too much about music, but also I'm sure other kinds of art, it becomes kind of desiccated.
Well, people can tell when you're being real, when it's real, it's emotion, it's from the heart, or if somebody's just trying to write a hit.
I think so. Yeah, and I think sometimes when people try to write a hit, there's a sincerity in the middle of it too. But sometimes, there are songs, and I think they're very irritating songs that are just vapid, and sound forced. So yeah, I mean that's the best. I think I took that advice myself, but I think it's the best advice you can have is just let the music lead.
Love that. Thank you for sharing that. Hey, thanks so much for watching. Man, I gotta go listen to The Distance again. It's such a great song. I tell you, this song, it's gonna be a hit with every generation. Thinking about it, my test is this. I just let this song play a couple of months ago while I was working in my office, and within about 60 seconds, my son and his friends came in and they're like, who sings this? This is a pretty cool song. It's how The Distance is. It just hooks you from the beginning. So leave us a comment about Cake and this cool classic. What do you remember about Fashion Nugget and about The Distance and the end of 96 going into 97? Let us know below. Let's have a great discussion. If this content resonates with you, just subscribe below. We'd love to have you. It's all about keeping the music alive. Until next time, 3 chords and the truth, my friends.